Dark Side of the Rings just concluded their season 6 of the entire series, and it was a really good series. We learned a lot about new topics that were covered, including the episodes on Muhammad Hassan, Daphne, Hell in a Cell. And many wonder with season 6 over if there will be a 7th season to the show. Now, I believe there absolutely will be because there are plenty of topics that the show could cover. And this got me to brainstorm a little bit about topics that I'd like to see in season 7. This isn't the specific topics that are confirmed cover. This is just a video I'm making to list the 7 topics that I would like to see the most get covered when the 7th season gets made. So here we go. I'll give you my 10 topics that I hope gets covered in season 7. Number 10. The Girls Gone Wild WWE pay-per-view did in 2003. This one is a weird one, and when people think of pay-per-views WWE wants you to forget about, everyone says December to Dismember because that pretty much was one of the worst pay-per-views ever. The Sweet Saudi Money shows, especially the one with DX and facing against the Brothers of Destruction, but the Girls Gone Wild pay-per-view is basically a collab between WWE and a adult entertainment company called Girls Gone Wild. Automatically right there is a problem, and it was just a colossal failure. It was so bad, this pay-per-view was such a mess that it didn't even get released on DVD. Jonathan Coachman, who was the host of the show, I hope if they do this episode, they get Jonathan Coachman. He would often interrupt whenever anything was about to go too far, especially with the WWE superstars. Joe Francis, go look that guy up and tell me, like, he's another psychopath who owned the Girls Gone Wild promotion company. And he has so many legal issues that Vince McMahon's lawyers would be jealous. And that whole entire show is just very bizarre, very creepy. And I kind of want them to tell the Kevin Dunn and Snoop Dogg story, where Snoop Dogg went after Kevin Dunn. That's another boatload of insanity. It's a pay-per-view that I feel like doesn't get enough attention when it comes to like Dark Side of the Ring talk, and I think this would be a very different episode for them to do. Number 9, Rock and Roll Buck Zumoff. I mean, if you don't know this guy, he's one of the legitimate sickos in the professional wrestling business. Like, this guy, he is a monster. He's mainly known for his time with the American Wrestling Association, the AWA. I think everyone would probably more known him as one of the first job guys that WWE hired to help put over The Undertaker during his first year in 1990. But Buck Zumoff is currently in jail for numerous sexual misconduct crimes that he's committed over his life. One of the victims was his own daughter, by the way. Yeah, go look up this guy and tell me he wouldn't be a perfect Dark Side of the Ring topic. Like, I'm not even going to discuss the other stuff this man has done in his life, all the crimes he's committed. He's an absolute sicko. Absolute sicko, and I hope he's rotten away from in prison. Number 8, Alberto Del Rio. Ah, yes, the guy I love to call Alberto Del Dipshit. He would be perfect for a Dark Side of the Ring episode, because this man was on top of the world as the WWE champion. He won the first ever 40-man Royal Rumble. He had the Rocket strapped onto him, but I mean, so many controversial moments happened throughout his life and his career that WWE doesn't even want any part of this man anymore. Heck, even in the AAA Worlds Collide pay-per-view, there's no mention of Alberto. He wasn't even shown when they had the hype package. Nothing. No mention of Alberto. Like, they don't even want to touch him. And you could honestly do a 2-part episode if you want to include his relationship with Paige, aka Saraya. That was a whole nother level of toxicity there. And it seemed like almost every week there was something going on with him and Paige. Domestic abuse, the arrests with Alberto has got to be talked about. In 2020, he was arrested for battery, kidnapping, sexually assaulting his girlfriend in 2020. While the charges were dropped, the details of that case are very, very graphic. And knowing all the other stories of how Alberto left TNA/Impact, him slapping an employee in WWE. When he first got fired in WWE, how he walked out of the company in 2016, him beating a fan in Tijuana and then getting suspended for 6 months. Like, this guy would be a perfect topic for Dark Side of the Ring. And yeah, those thinking he would be perfect for a return to WWE, not happening. Nah. Number 7, Jerry the King Lawler. Yep, I think Jerry the King Lawler should be a Dark Side of the Ring topic. He was a tremendous star in the territory days in the Memphis area. He was a great worker, and he's more known for his commentary role with him and Jim Ross during the Attitude Era. I find it fascinating that Jerry Lawler hated being a commentator. Like, all these stories, like, he's one of the greatest commentators ever, but he hated that role. And throughout his time in WWE, like, there's a bunch of high moments, but there's a bunch of dark moments too. He got suspended for a domestic violence incident in 2016. There was even a rape allegation in 1993, which affected the Survivor Series of that show, because I believe he was going to have a match against Shawn Michaels at that time, and that all got scrapped. It was a complete disaster there. And that's not even getting into his son's tragedy. Brian Christopher, who was in Too Cool, the faction Too Cool with Rikishi and Scotty Too Hottie. He committed suicide in his prison, and Jerry Lawler filed a wrongful death lawsuit with that jail. And it's just so sad with what happened with Brian Christopher. And no father should ever have to bury their son, and Jerry Lawler unfortunately had to. And I think if you did an episode on Jerry the King Lawler, that would be an episode that would be a tough watch. Number 6, the Big Boss Man, Ray Traylor. This one is an interesting one because when Dark Side of the Ring's Twitter account, their official Twitter account, posted the tweet of what topics you want covered in season 7, one of the producers, his name is Jason Isner, basically replied saying that he wanted to do an episode on the Big Boss Man. And when looking at his life, I mean, it makes sense why he would want to do an episode on the Big Boss Man. I mean, he was a great character, especially as the cop. As he was just a great character. But there were plenty of moments throughout his career that you can't talk about too much. I mean, that WrestleMania match he had with The Undertaker at Hell in a Cell, one of the worst Hell in a Cell matches of all time. And then at the end of the match, they basically, The Undertaker made a sacrifice. He sacrificed the Big Boss Man by hanging him after the match. It was so uncomfortable. It's a segment that would never air ever again. And I can't even believe they thought filming that was a good idea. And it's worse because Ray Traylor's actually dead. He passed at the age of 41. You could even mention his bizarre feud with Al Snow, and that awful Kennel from Hell match too. Like, it was horrendous, really horrendous. He had the bad motorcycle accident in 2002. He dealt with he was depressed with the death of his friend, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, and he passed away at the age of 41 years old. And I think that it wouldn't be a surprise that this episode gets done in season 7, especially since Jason Isner wants to do it. And I think it would be a good topic for them to explore. Number 5, Gorilla Monsoon and Joey Morella. Gorilla Monsoon, if you don't know, he was a commentator / pro wrestler in the business. Him and Bobby the Brain Heenan were the commentary team during the golden era of WWE. And it was a great pairing. I just love Monsoon and it was perfect. It was like peanut butter and jelly. It's a perfect type of sandwich that those two were paired with, and it just worked. But Monsoon's life sort of went downhill the moment his son Joey Morella passed. If you don't know, Joey Morella used to be a WWE referee. He officiated some of the matches, and Joey Morella would actually pass away due to him falling asleep. He was driving his car. Harvey Whippleman was actually in the car. They were driving to their next show, and Joey Morella actually fell asleep in the wheel, crashed the car. Harvey Whippleman survived with he was so with a ton of injuries, but Joey Morella would actually pass away from that car crash. And Gorilla Monsoon was just never the same. It was never the same after that. And Monsoon eventually would pass away in 1999, but it's just depressing with what happened with Joey Morella. And I find it interesting, too, that in the Mr. McMahon documentary, Vince Sr. basically was originally planning to sell the company to Gorilla Monsoon, but instead of his son. So I always wonder, what if Vince McMahon Sr. stayed put with his plan, didn't sell to his son, and sold to Gorilla Monsoon? Would the Joey Morella stuff happen? How would WWE look today if Gorilla Monsoon owned the company? Unfortunately, we'll never know, but I think that would be an interesting episode to look at Gorilla and Joey Morella. Number 4, the Velveteen Dream. Patrick Clark. Velveteen Dream was at one point was one of WWE's top prospects in the NXT Black and Gold era. He was getting so much praises from all these superstars, all these legends. Booker T, Shawn Michaels would come out of the woodwork to defend him. Lita. John Cena once called Velveteen Dream the One. Like, he saw something in Velveteen Dream. However, the Velveteen Dream basically turned into the Velveteen Nightmare. He's one of the classic examples of wasted potential ever in the business, because of the allegations of him grooming young kids and sending inappropriate images of himself to them. This was also during the speaking out movement, where the allegations came out, and it sparked the hashtag Fire Velveteen Dream trend, and it eventually got Dream fired. Now, WWE did an investigation on Velveteen's allegations. However, one of his accusers basically would come out of the woodwork saying he never even got contacted in that investigation, which is kind of shady, that they weren't contacted in this investigation. And that EC3 story of Velveteen Dream filming people in bathrooms without their knowledge is just insane. I there's no way you could defend that. And ever since, Dream's pretty much been blackballed from the business. I mean, he's worked independent shows, but he's never signed to another top promotion ever again. And with all of his issues, his drug issues, him being difficult to work with backstage, he's never going to get another shot. And it's just a shame. And he's another tremendous what if in WWE if he wasn't such a creep and he kept his head straight. Number 3, Ashley Massaro. You have to include her on the Dark Side of the Ring topic list because that's just a sad one. Not only because she committed suicide in 2019. Actually, she lived in Long Island at the time in Huntington, and I was around. My grandmother used to live in Northport, and when the news happened, it was just shocking even up there that Ashley Massaro would do that. And then it got revealed that she was assaulted by a U.S. military doctor during a WWE Tribute to the Troops show in Kuwait. WWE knew about it, but they told her not to report it. Even Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, who was the former executive of WWE, admitted that WWE knew about it and they did nothing about it, and they tried to hide it just so that their relationship with the military could be maintained and continued, which that's something that shouldn't be ignored. Like, it needs to be reminded of. I mean, even Massaro would even accuse Vince McMahon of preying on female talents, assaulting her as well, and would bury her in the bookings when she kept constantly saying no to his advances. And even to Massaro's lawyer, he basically admitted that McMahon was sabotaging her career with the company. Eventually, Massaro got released in 2008, but it's clear that WWE failed Ashley Massaro. Knowing her injuries that she had and how badly they gave her health care, knowing how they knew what was going on, but it just didn't work out, like in their investigation. They failed this woman. They failed her, and it's a shame. Number 2, the JBL bullying scandals. John Bradshaw Layfield, he may be a WWE Hall of Famer, but what always comes across with JBL is the dude is a legit bully. And I'm not talking about one of those lightheart teases. I'm talking like legitimate bully harassment. Heck, even the Brawl for All was basically created because Vince Russo wanted to see JBL get knocked out because of his bullying. And there's so many stories that are out there with JBL. I'm gonna give you a few bullet points of some of the stories that and the moments that have happened with JBL and his bullying scandals. So here we go. Legitimately beating up the Blue Meanie on WWE pay-per-view. It was one of the one-night stand ECW pay-per-views. He legitimately beat up the Blue Meanie on live pay-per-view. Bullying Joey Styles so bad that JBL got punched in the mouth or in the eye. It depends. The story's mixed. Stealing Justin Roberts' passport in another country, thinking that harmed Justin Roberts because he didn't know if what was going on with his passport, what was going to happen. JBL took his passport and hid it from him, which is not funny. I don't care who you are. Bullying Mauro Ranallo to a point where he had to take a hiatus from commentary. Mauro Ranallo has bipolar disorder, and it's unbelievable what happened there. Causing Palmer Cannon to quit the company because of JBL's bullying. There's a history of JBL's bullying causing employees to quit. And the craziest thing, and this was mentioned in Adam Copeland, aka Edge's book, JBL once soaped Edge's marble pouch in the showers. He straight up admitted to that in that book, that JBL did that. Unbelievable. I mean, JBL's a complete jerk. I don't care what anyone says. Like, he was a complete jerk to people then, and those bullying scandals, they're, with the amount of stories there are, they could easily do an episode on it, or maybe two, with how bad these bullying scandals are. Number one, and if you know me, you knew this was going to be number one, Sweet and Sour Larry Sweeney. I'm going to keep saying his name every time I do a Dark Side of the Ring video or topic videos or talk about him. This man is the greatest what if in professional wrestling because he's the closest thing we ever got to with Bobby Heenan as a manager. He was such a great talent. Go watch his Chikara promotion days and the early days of Ring of Honor. This guy had everything. The mic work, the charisma. This guy was an entertainer. It was in his blood. However, it just never materialized, and he passed away at the age of 30 years old due to suicide. He actually hung himself at a wrestling school at one of the turnbuckles, and it's just so sad. The man was super talented, and if he only had that chance to get signed to a full-time deal with WWE, he would have been one of the top names in the business. He was such a phenomenal talent, man. And I really miss Sweet and Sour Larry Sweeney. He's one. I was 10, may have been 10 years old when I was starting to really learn about Chikara, but going back and watching his matches, his moments, the dance he would have to strut off with him and One Man Gang, aka Akeem, was great. Man, I just wish that Larry Sweeney was still here. And I think a Dark Side of the Ring episode on him would be a sad one, but it's something that I hope gets done on him because people need to know more about this man and how talented he was, because that is a loss that does not get talked about as much as it should, and I hope that changes soon. So those are my 10 topics I hope gets covered in the 7th season of Dark Side of the Ring if that happens. My question for you guys watching is, do you agree? What did I leave out? What are some topics that you hope get covered in the 7th season of Dark Side of the Ring? Let me know in the comments section. Don't forget to give a like on the video. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell right next to it. You'll get notified with every stream that we do, every video that gets posted. The Ringside Rant podcast, we are live on Mondays during Monday Night Raw. We're going to be live on AEW Dynamite Wednesday. We're also going to do our usual Thursday podcast, which is at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So plenty of pro wrestling topics. Go to stadiumrant.com. We cover everything: NFL, MLB, professional wrestling, anything, any type of sport that you want to read about, we cover it here. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Let me know how it was. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Acknowledge us.